Hey guys, and welcome back to Mad About Skin. If you're new to our channel, welcome. Here at Mad About Skin, we're passionate about helping you to get the most out of your skincare. So if you haven't already, now's a fantastic time to click that link below, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, and you won't miss out on any of our amazing future content. Now, in this video, we are talking the truth about Cetaphil, the brand which is beloved by beauty editors and dermatologists alike. But recently, there's been quite a lot of hate shared online about Cetaphil and some claims, some counterclaims. I'm going to get to the bottom of that and work out ultimately whether any of their products, which we'll come on to later in the video, are actually worth a space in your skincare routine, and whether there's any fact behind some of the claims which are appearing about this brand. You know it's serious because I'm wearing my glasses. The main reason for that is I've got my notes and I can't see a thing. I have to do it all from memory if I don't put my glasses on, so I thought I've got a lot to cover, so I'll put my glasses on so I can actually read from my notes. So if you see me looking down, it's because I've got quite a bit to cover. First off, I am going to say that skincare is personal to the individual and your skin type, and so whatever I say in this video, if you love Cetaphil or you hate Cetaphil or you're a bit towards Cetaphil, leave me a comment below, but let's not share any hate, because ultimately what works for me and what I think is a good product might not work for you and vice versa. So let's share the experience and share your experience with this brand in the comments below, rather than saying, you know, we hear some things in these style of videos like you're a liar, I love this brand. Well, that's fine, you're allowed to love it, just leave me a comment below and let's get the conversation going. As a brand, it was founded in Canada, so it's a big Canadian brand, which I didn't realise till I was doing my research, in 1947, and has been around for ages. It was designed by dermatologists, and it's not really evolved much over the past, 60, 70 years. There's been some small tweaks to formulation, and they've introduced some new products, specifically things with SPF sitting and such, but the actual core basis of their products hasn't really changed. I do always say, just because something hasn't changed, it might be outdated, but that doesn't mean it's dangerous and bad for your skin. So, whilst the fangirls are still out in force and the craze for Cerave is unabated, I personally don't really like Cerave. I did a whole video on why I don't, which I'll leave a link to up there, so check that out if you want a bit more detail and background behind that. But whilst people are still fangirling hard for Cerave, actually quite a few detractors and comments have started appearing on Cetaphil, which to all intents and purposes is a similar skincare line, saying how bad it is and calling out some of the ingredients that are used and some of the science behind it. I don't think some of these claims, whether you believe them or not, they don't stop short of hysteria, and that is, I'll read you a few examples, and really we need to get to the bottom of what's the truth behind it. So one skincare expert said that the cleanser is so bad for you it's the equivalent of using toxic sludge on your face. I mean, that's hysterical. Someone else claimed that cetyl alcohol, which is in the majority, if not all, of their products, it's a fatty alcohol, is found in all of their products and is essentially a toxic wax. This word toxic seems to keep coming up, and I have an issue with that, which I'll come on to later in the video. And then one other person said their products and some of the ingredients used can cause cancer. That is a reference to parabens, which we'll come on to later in the video. So this hysteria that started to spread around this brand, I think we'll just get into it, we'll unpick it, and we'll work out what is the actual truth behind Cerave. So first off, I don't personally buy from Cerave or use them in my skincare line. That's because I don't think any of the products are that effective, and they're also not 100% cruelty free. So Cerave as a brand do not test their products on animals. However, they do sell into mainland China, where animal testing is mandated on any cosmetic or skincare products. So they sell into a market which they know is going to then require their products to be tested on animals, albeit them not doing the testing themselves, a third party is. I'll leave you to make up your own decision on whether that's something that bothers you and whether that's a reason for you not purchasing this brand, or whether it's something that you're happy to look the other way towards if you really like the products. I'll leave that up to you, it's all down to personal preference, but I did just want to call that out, and that's the main reason I don't purchase from this skincare line. When we come on to the claims that they continue to use parabens, this is when people say a lot of their products can cause cancer. This is pure hysteria. So if a lot of people are moving away from parabens in skincare and looking for paraben-free options, parabens are used as a preservative. However, there have been some studies which have shown when isolated and exposed to cells individually, not as part of the human body, not as part of our overall system, but separately, that they can cause them to replicate and duplicate. I'll leave some studies in the link below if you do want to explore this a bit more. People then extrapolated from that it could cause cancer or lead to a quicker growth in cancer cells. There is no science which substantiates those claims, and whilst I could argue that the science is still in its infancy and more research needs to be done, there is no scientific evidence out there that categorically proves that parabens lead to cancer. So we can dispel that myth entirely. If you do want to reduce the amount of parabens in your skincare, absolutely be my guest, and that is a consumer choice. However, to say that Cetaphil as a brand causes cancer is absolute rot and hysteria, just not true. Coming on to the claims about cetyl alcohol. So cetyl alcohol is a fatty alcohol, something which appears in all of the Cetaphil products and quite a lot of our skincare products. I love it as a skincare ingredient. That's because it acts as a surfactant, so it will give a mild cleansing action, but it's also super hydrating and emollient, so it will add hydration back into the skin and soften the skin rather than stripping it out like some drying alcohols will do. Fantastic, fantastic ingredient. The people online calling this a toxic wax are just, that's just naivety, and it's just not true. So it is not a wax in the strictest sense, and it is not toxic. This word toxic, which comes about in skincare all the time, all ingredients in a high enough quantity, and some, the quantity varies between product and ingredient to ingredient, but all ingredients in skincare would be toxic at a high enough concentration. Our bodies can't deal with a hecton of a ingredient, however safe, organic, natural it is. It will be toxic in some quantity. So the notion that these ingredients are toxic is just misplaced. People often quote scientific studies which showed, in huge vast quantities, this has this impact, this ingredient has this impact on the body. Well, of course it would, but actually we're using them in such small quantities in skincare. Absolutely fine. So I really don't like the term toxic in skincare because quite often it's misused and it's very consuming. It's very confusing and alarming to the consumer. So let's dispel that myth. Cetyl alcohol is not toxic. It is not strictly a wax, and it is a perfectly safe ingredient to have in your skincare routine. It's actually a beneficial one, which I would look for, particularly if you have dry or dehydrated skin. It's a really great ingredient to have in your skincare routine. So let's dispel that myth straight off. Finally, people always seem to be coming for Cetaphil because they use SLS, sodium lauryl sulfate, in some of their cleansers and formulations. Sodium lauryl sulfate is a great surfactant. It foams and it really deep cleans the skin. However, it can be very stripping and very drying, and it can be an irritant. Some studies have shown it to be irritating when used on its own and it's applied to a cell. It can be quite irritating. However, some of these studies are a little bit on the misleading side because whilst it is irritating on its own, what you need to see as part of an overall formulation, because you're not just applying SLS, sodium lauryl sulfate, direct to the skin, you're applying it as part of a product. So there's other emollients, there's other base formulations in there which can impact the irritating nature of the ingredient and make it much less harsh on the skin and much easier to use. It's a great surfactant and it's a great way of cleansing the skin. I think it's a bit outdated and it's a bit of an old formulation, which probably is born of the fact that these products haven't been reformulated in years, and when they were created, SLS probably was cutting edge. We've kind of moved away from that now. We look to more natural surfactants which are out there, and SLS isn't really becoming that prevalent in skincare anymore. Whilst I am not a huge fan of it in a formulation, it's not one of the worst ingredients you could possibly find in skincare. It's something which can be drying if you already have dry skin, so that's something to be mindful of, but in a lot of the products from Cetaphil that have it, it's right down on the ingredients list, and because most of them don't foam, I imagine it's there in such tiny quantities that it's not going to do a whole lot of drying or irritation to the skin. You also have to see it in the context of all the other emollients and hydrating elements that are in there, which are designed to offset some of that dryness that you can get. So whilst if you have super sensitive skin or you have very dry skin, you probably should, just as a precaution, just eliminate SLS from your skincare routine. It's not the doom and gloom, the devil that some people online would like to make out it is, and it certainly doesn't make Cetaphil as a brand toxic or damaging and irritating to the skin unless you already have inbuilt irritation or a sensitivity to SLS. So now we've dispelled those myths, we've cleared up some of the confusion and some of the claims and counterclaims online. Cetaphil is not toxic, it does not cause cancer, and whilst, if you already have very sensitive skin, the presence of SLS in it could be a little bit sensitizing, it by no means is going to dry out your skin and strip and damage your skin. So let's come on to the actual products themselves, and this is where I actually cease to be a defender of Cetaphil and become one of the judgmental people that just don't particularly buy into the brand. For a lot of the reasons that I don't enjoy Cerave as a brand, I don't think their products are that effective. Now, of course, feel free to disagree with me in the comments if you use Cetaphil and you absolutely love them as a product. I'm going on my experience. I've used all of these products over the years and I've never repurchased them because there's always better ones available, or I've just not been a huge fan of the ingredients list. So first off, and probably their most famous product, is the Gentle Skin Cleanser. This is their famous viral. This is the one that probably rivals the whole Cerave craze. This is a non-drying formulation and it doesn't dry the skin. I've used it. There has a small amount of sodium lauryl sulfate in right down at the bottom, but it doesn't dry my skin. And I've tried it on people, I've asked for people's feedback who have drier skin, and they found it to be absolutely fine. It doesn't clog the pores, which is great, so it's suitable for all skin types, and it's simple. I think one of the benefits of Cetaphil is, as particularly their cleansers, is they're so simple. They have very few ingredients in, so it's really going to be easy to incorporate some more actives down the line in your skincare routine without it worrying that it might, have an impact on the cleanser, might have an impact on them and how effective they are. It's fragrance free and it's colorant free, so it's a ding 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 for people that do have sensitive skin and want to avoid fragrance and colorants in their skincare routine. Overall, I'm giving this a 5 out of 10. This is just a meh product, and this is going to be a theme you're going to see as we go through this. There's nothing bad with it in terms of it will cleanse. I don't think it's strong enough to get rid of all of any waterproof makeup and heavy SPF that you might be wearing, but it will give a gentle cleanse. It doesn't dry the skin, and it does remove the dirt and the debris that you need it to. It's a 5 out of 10. There's better cleansers out there. I'll leave a link to my favorite cleansers below, so check those out if you want a better and more effective cleanser than this. Their other really, really sort of viral products are their moisturisers. They have their Cetaphil Moisturising Lotion, which is a lighter version of their body cream, which I think, again, is one of their best-selling products. All of these are very hydrating. They're thick. They're quite emollient. They're very thick creams. The lotion is lighter than the cream, as you would expect with a lotion, but they are going to add a lot of hydration to the skin. They're formulated very simply. They will add a lot of hydration, but there's nothing too exciting about them. I don't think they're going to set the world alight. There's nothing really interesting. If you have impaired barrier function on your skin, something like eczema, dermatitis, something simple like this could be really good for the skin, as they're fragrance free, colorant free, and I have a simple ingredients list. But there's nothing there that's really going to excite me. I'm giving both of them sort of an 8 out of 10. Nothing bad, but again, I think there's more exciting moisturisers out there. I prefer something that might have an active ingredient in, like say a niacinamide. It's great to incorporate niacinamide into your routine at the moisturiser stage, something that's a bit more hydrating. Or take a really boring moisturiser and add some facial oil in it and mix it up a bit. I did a whole video on sort of moisturising hacks, which I'll leave up there. Check that out because there's some great hacks, and I'm not sure most people would want to reach for this. Those are the products which I think are fine to incorporate in your routine. There are some complete duds that you just need to miss out on. First up is the Daily Defense Lotion SPF 50. This is thick, it's greasy, it doesn't sink in, it leaves a really thick film on the skin. Very unpleasant. It stings. So this is chemical sunscreen, but it stings. And so actually it's not going to be great for people with sensitive skin who I think would reach for this. It's not one of those products that I've ever wanted to use again. I love a mineral sunscreen if you're very sensitive, but also some great Korean sunscreens. I just think this is a firm pass for me, and not something that I would ever recommend people use because of the formulation and the fact it is actually quite painful to use. They also have the Gentle Exfoliating Cleanser. There is nothing gentle about a scrub, and this is a scrub. It's got like beads in there. They're not plastic, they're not harmful microbeads, but they are bead-like, and it is just quite rough and abrasive on the skin. If you want to go for a manual exfoliation, there's better ones out there. This is just a firm pass for me. And finally, their Pro Night Cream, which is their standard cream, it seems to have a lot more ingredients in, none of which I feel are adding a lot more benefit. It does have niacinamide in there, which is a tick in the box, which I like, but beyond that, there's caffeine in there. I'm not sure why you want that in your moisturiser and why you want it at night. I'm not sold on any of that as a really good product. They obviously have loads of other products, but I think they're all products which have been added into the collection at a later date just because, another company has been selling something that's popular. I don't think any of them are really as well formulated as their cleanser and their original moisturising cream and lotions. Those are the ones I go to if you want to try something from this brand. So there you have it, guys. The truth about Cetaphil. Not the devil that some hysterical people would like you to believe, but also just a bit of a brand. I did a whole video on other elements of Cetaphil, which I'll leave below. They're older videos, so don't judge me if the editing's a little bit on the ratchet side, but I left a link below, so check those out if you'd like to. I also have left a link to my favourite moisturisers and cleansers if you do want something that's not Cetaphil and actually going to work for you. I've left a link to them below, so check those out. Leave me a comment to let me know what you think of Cetaphil itself, and wherever you are in the world, guys, stay safe, stay well, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.